Powered up, so I'm ready to put on for the hood. Hell yeah. Listen, let's get it. If you want to know what a SPAC is, or you never heard of what a SPAC is, then you will definitely enjoy this episode of Attention Deficit Hood Analysis. You feel me? What's going on, Hood Nation? This is the official phone blog, Attention Deficit Hood Analysis. I'm DJ Hood Shaka, the man with an intellectual master plan. Yeah, I like how that sounds. And right now, I'm going to be talking about what a SPAC is, and I call it the SPAC in America. So, I was just reading an article about Colin Kaepernick creating a SPAC called Mission Advancement. Now, you might not know what a SPAC is, so I'm going to try to break it down so it'll forever be broke. A SPAC is an acronym that stands for Special Purpose Acquisition Company. Now, look, I just did this research, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just with you. So now you're probably asking yourself, well, what the hell is a Special Purpose Acquisition Company? A Special Purpose Acquisition Company is a company with no commercial operations and is formed strictly to raise capital through an initial public offering for the purpose of acquiring an existing company. It's also called a blank check company. So let me try to break this down so it'll forever be broke. SPAC stands for Special Purpose Acquisitions Company, and it's basically a shell company set up by investors with the sole purpose of raising money through an initial public offering or an IPO to eventually acquire another company. For example, Mission Advancement Corporation was set up by Cap and other investors, and they're about to become a publicly traded company. It will then use the money from a publicly traded company to purchase another company or another business. I'm about to say, bitches, don't be purchasing bitches. I'm saying, anyway, just keep my mind right. I want to talk about, okay, so a SPAC has no commercial operations. It makes no products and does not sell anything. A SPAC's only assets are typically the money raised in its IPO. You get what I'm saying? So when a SPAC raises the money, the people buying into the IPO, they do not know the eventual acquisition target. That means they don't know the company that they're gonna buy, you know, that SPAC is planning to purchase. But in this case, the company is hoping that with the star power of Cap, or Colin Kaepernick, that they can easily convince more people into investing in the unknown, because that's the risk of a SPAC. That's why a SPAC is always called a blank check company. Now, once the IPO raises capital, you know, SPACs IPOs are usually like $10 a share. That money goes into an interest-bearing trust account until the SPAC's founder or management team finds a private company looking to go public through an acquisition. Now, once the acquisition is completed with the SPAC, then the SPAC shareholders, they vote to approve the deal. Now, the SPAC's investors, they can either swap their shares for shares of the merged company or that new company, or they can redeem the SPAC's shares to get back their original investment. Plus, the interest accrued while that money was in that trust. Now, the SPAC sponsors typically get about 20% stake in the final merged company. So if I invest in this company, I will be a part of the 20% of the company. However, SPAC sponsors have like a deadline. So they have to find a suitable deal within 2 years of the IPO. Otherwise, the SPAC is liquidated and the investors get their money back with interest. So I want you to do some research on this SPAC and I want you to make some decisions. And I'm going to tell you like this. Take a $10 chance. I'm just saying. That's how much the shares are going to cost. I'm going to continue this conversation, but some of the takeaways is that a SPAC is a special purpose acquisitions company that is formed strictly to raise money through an IPO or initial public offering to buy another company. Also, at the time of their initial public offering, SPACs have no existing business operations or even stated targets. That means they don't even know who they're going to buy. They just know they are formed to buy or to purchase another business or another company. Investors in SPACs, they can range from well-known private equity funds to general public people. SPACs, they got 2 years to complete an acquisition or they have to return their funds to the investors with interest. So let me give you a brief explanation on how a SPAC works. SPACs are generally formed by investors or sponsors with an expertise in a particular industry or business sector with the intention of pursuing deals in that specific area. Now, in creating a SPAC, the founders sometimes have at least one acquisition target in mind. That means that they have at least one business in mind that they want to purchase. But they don't identify that target because they want to avoid disclosures during that IPO process. You have to do some research. But that's why it's called a blank check company. IPO investors, they have no idea. IPO investors, that's what I'm going to be. But listen, they have no idea what the company will ultimately be investing in. A SPAC, they got a lot of underwriters and like institutional investors before offering shares to the public. So before they offer it to me, they're already doing their thing and talking amongst each other and making their educated guess. They doing all that genius stuff. So by the time it's a public traded company and goes to where I can invest as a regular investor, then, they're already really ready. You feel me? So the money that SPACs raise in an IPO is placed in an interest-bearing trust account. These funds cannot be dispersed except to complete an acquisition or to return the money to the investors if that SPAC is liquidated. You feel me? So a SPAC generally has 2 years to complete a deal or it faces liquidation. Now, in some cases, though, some of the interest earned from the trust can be used as the SPAC's working capital. After an acquisition, a SPAC is usually listed on one of the major stock exchanges, publicly traded. Now, let me give you my thoughts on this and what I think as possible advantage of a SPAC. So I think that selling to a SPAC can be an attractive option if you are the owner of a small business, because small businesses or small companies often use private equity funds, and selling to a SPAC can add, let's say, like 20% to your sales price compared to a typical private equity deal. Now, also, if you're a business and you're acquired by a SPAC can offer business owners what is essentially a faster IPO process because guess what? They have a lot of experienced partners. So they got that guidance. I hope that makes sense. And you don't have to worry about a shift in like the market price. A lot of the things that I'm talking about, you got to research, but I want to talk to you about it so you'll know what to research. Research a shift in the market. Google University will tell you, Now, I also think that that Cap making this move could be advantageous because he's trying to build a reputation of being consistent and for the people who have nothing. His star power and what he has come to stand for has become something very big. I think it's something that you can trust because he sacrificed his career, by taking a knee. Do some research on who Colin Kaepernick is and what he stands for and having people knowing their rights and things of that nature. So I think that he took a major sacrifice. So I think that he is in the light of looking out for underprivileged people. And I also think he's trying to lead by example. He puts his reputation on the line. So I'm going to believe in this SPAC. It's called Mission Advancement. Now, I also plan to do more investigation. I plan to investigate when it becomes a publicly traded company. So I encourage you to investigate as well because I'm going to do some more investigating, like I said. So do the same, Okay, let me wrap this up. But before I wrap this up, let me cover some important words that I spoke on in this video. Okay, so a blank check company, a blank check company is a developmental stage company that has no specific business plan or has the intent to merge or acquire another firm. All right. Another term that I spoke is, activist investor. What's an activist? An activist investor is an individual or group that invests in a company and or obtains seats on a board to affect a major change in the company. Now, usually these individuals have experience. Experience is good. Trust me, ladies love it. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm being stupid. Let me get my mind back. Okay, so another term that I used. IPO. An IPO, that's an initial public offering. An initial public offering refers to the process of offering shares of a private corporation to the public in a new stock issuance. You feel me? That makes me think of another word, shares. Shares are a unit of ownership of a company that may be purchased by an investor. Get you some shares. Okay, a sponsor. A sponsor can be a range of providers and entities that support the goals and objectives of an individual or a company. Yeah, that's how we're going to go with that. Another term that I want you to know is private purchase. Yeah. Okay, so a private purchase. A private purchase usually refers to an investment in which an investor buys shares in a privately held firm. Yeah. I think those are the definitions that I want you to know. Yeah. Look, I had to hit you with the definition of the words being used because I hate when I'm looking at videos and the person who is talking is just flexing their vocabulary. I'm saying, dog, we get that you smart. We get that you read a book or two. But can you relate to the people? Look, man, YouTube is filled with these perfect people that speak perfectly. So I got to be the opposite of all of that. You feel me? But okay, that's going to be it for this episode of Attention Deficit. Hood Analysis. I want you to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you want me to do. If you like this financial type stuff, hey man, I can explain how this stuff works. Cause hey, I'm from the hood, but it's all good. Cause I get it, man. I get this stuff, man. It's too easy. But okay, this has been the SPAC edition. I'm your man, DJ Hood Shaka. As always, I gotta remind you to stay focused, stay safe, and support the hood.